The shake-up at Tottenham Hotspur Football Club has officially started. Executive Director Donna Cullen has stepped down from her role. Ryan Mason has now left the football club. He is now the new head coach at West Bromwich Albion. Bryan Mbeumo, Spurs hold interest in him, but it now looks like he favours a move to Old Trafford and he wants to join Manchester United. Reports in Germany are stating that Matthijs Tel could join Tottenham again next season on another loan with an obligation to buy. Reports are stating that Daniel Levy is still thinking about reappointing Fabio Paratici after his ban, and Ange Postecoglou sends a message. Hi everyone, hope you're well. Chris Cowlin here, and this is another episode of Tottenham News, where I'll be going through all of the latest Spurs news, rumours and reports. If you're watching on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button, like, share and comment below. And if you're listening to this on an audio platform, please do that follow button and leave a review if you can. Now let's start with a couple of official announcements released by Tottenham Hotspur Football Club on Monday. Monday morning, an announcement came out. Donna Cullen, Executive Director, steps down from the club's board. Donna Cullen said, "This has been such a hard decision to make. The club has been in my life for the past 3 decades. I've had the privilege of working with Daniel, whose vision and energy has driven the club forward, and so many talented and wonderful colleagues. It has been quite some journey, starting at White Hart Lane with a brief stay at Wembley, and then finally our new home. Amazing memories, home and away. Ending this season with the Europa League trophy was a dream come true. The time is now right for me to gather more time for myself and my family, whom I thank for all of their support over the years. I shall spend the coming months ensuring there is a smooth handover with my staff. Thank you all. I wish everyone at the club all of the success in the world." Now, on Monday evening, another official club statement. Ryan Mason departs to the Hawthorns. We can announce that Ryan Mason, our assistant coach, has left the club to take up the role of head coach at West Bromwich Albion. He then goes on to say that Ryan has a long history at the club, having joined the full-time academy set up in 2007 before going on to make 70 appearances for the first team. Following the end of his playing career, Ryan Mason returned to the club in 2018 in a coaching capacity. He went on to become interim head coach on 2 occasions, firstly in 2021 and then later in 2023. When Ange Postecoglou took over as head coach in July 2023, Ryan Mason was appointed as one of his assistants. He was part of the coaching team that helped steer the club to the Europa League trophy last month. Daniel Levy on Ryan Mason leaving the club. He said, "Ryan has been an integral part of Tottenham Hotspur for a number of years, both as a player and as a coach. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Ryan Mason for all of his dedication and hard work over the years, and we wish him every success for the future." Ryan Mason has spoken out about being appointed as the head coach of West Bromwich Albion. He said, "I'm absolutely thrilled to have been appointed head coach of West Bromwich Albion. This is a huge club with a fantastic infrastructure and an incredible fan base, and I'm excited about what we can achieve together. Having spoken at length to the board and those at the club, I am convinced that Albion is the perfect place for me to be, and I can't wait to get started. I will bring with me the huge amount of enthusiasm, dedication, and I look forward to a positive future together at such a fantastic club." Now, Tottenham Hotspur boss Ange Postecoglou, whilst on holiday in Greece, has been talking about Spurs winning the Europa League and the future. He said, "I didn't want us just to enjoy the moment. I also wanted us to think about what is next. Don't settle for this. You've got a taste for it now. My players have got a taste for it. The club's got a taste for it. Well, let's see and make sure we are back here again." Ange Postecoglou also said, I've kind of had to answer those questions because no one else at the club is kind of in that position to do so, but I can't answer that question about me and my future. And part of me is kind of thinking why I've been asked that question, but it is what it is. And I've got no doubt, though, that this could be a real sort of defining moment for the club, because wherever I've been, I've made an impact where I've brought success to the club that hasn't had it for a while. And you just have to look at those clubs, and even after I've left, they are still competing for things. I really think this is a moment in time where this club can really push on and be a real contender for honours on a yearly basis. The Daily Telegraph have also reported about Donna Cullen's exit from Spurs. They have stated it is anticipated that Cullen's departure will be one of many, with head coach Ange Postecoglou still waiting to hear whether he will be sacked. Chief Football Officer Scott Munn's future is in doubt, and questions are rising over Matthew Collicott's role as Operations and Finance Director. The report then goes on to say that sources believe the shake-up, which is expected to be far-reaching, could be the prelude to fresh funds being pumped into the club by ENIC, which is keen to remain in control of Tottenham or in the form of outside investment. This report states that ENIC provided £122.1 million in owner funding since its 2001 takeover to June 2024, the equivalent of just £5.3 million per season. The majority of that came from a £97.5 million share issue in May 2022, which had initially been announced as being worth up to £150 million. Since ENIC's £97.5 million share issue, a total of 13 English clubs received more owner funding, while the owners of Tottenham's rivals Aston Villa have poured more than £600 million into the club since their takeover in 2018. ENIC did invest £35 million into the club in January, but Chairman Daniel Levy made it clear that Tottenham would not spend money that they do not have, with the club's net transfer debt standing at £279.3 million. Even with Champions League qualification and £200 million worth of profitability and sustainability rules headroom, that would put Spurs in the position of needing to sell to buy this summer without investment from ENIC or elsewhere. Vinay Venkatesam's appointment is believed to be linked to potential further investment from ENIC, and he has already advertised for a business operations lead to work under him. The Daily Telegraph have just reported that Daniel Levy is considering whether to reappoint Fabio Paratici, the former managing director of football, to a full-time position once his worldwide ban for his role in alleged false accounting at Juventus is lifted at the end of this month. On Monday evening, David Ornstein from The Athletic has stated that Bryan Mbeumo of Brentford decides he wants to join Manchester United, as Manchester United are now expected to open talks with Brentford in bid to sign 25-year-old forward this summer. The likes of Arsenal, Newcastle and Spurs all interested, but Cameroon international favours Old Trafford if deal agreed. Now, we've seen various reports over recent months that Tottenham Hotspur hold interest in Everton centre-back Jarrad Branthwaite. Well, the Daily Mail have just reported that Everton are telling interested parties that Jarrad Branthwaite is not for sale in this summer transfer window. Now, Sky Germany have just reported that Tottenham want to keep Matisse Tel at Spurs. A new idea is currently being discussed, and that is another loan deal for Tel at Tottenham and an obligation to buy. FC Bayern Munich still prefer a permanent sale. Negotiations are ongoing and everything is still open. Bayern Munich are in intense talks with both the player and Tottenham Hotspur, and they have been for weeks, to find the best possible solution. Now, my thoughts on everything in this episode, and I just want to say a big thank you to everyone who has watched all of these episodes so far at the start of the transfer window. And I know some people have very sarcastically said, wow, you've got a lot of videos and episodes coming out. This is probably going to be like this for the next couple of months. So I will say it again, if you hate the transfer market and you hate all of the speculation, and I do try to sieve through some of the good reports and some of the bad reports, and I will will call some of the bad reports out as well, or I won't even mention them. But the reason why I mentioned that one on Sunday is because it did need addressing. So what I'd say is, if you hate the speculation, perhaps just don't tune in to all of these transfer videos for the next couple of months, and just try to enjoy the other content that we put out on this channel. Now, my thoughts, Ange Postecoglou, first thing Monday morning, he was speaking to Australian TV from his holiday in Greece. And I absolutely love this quote. I really do. And I'm going to read it again. I don't want us to just enjoy the moment. I also want us to think about what is next. Don't settle for this. We've got a taste for it now. My players have got a taste for it. The club's got a taste for it. Well, we want to make sure we're back here again. I tell you what, I couldn't have said or written those words better myself. Well done, Ange Postecoglou. I'm fully behind Ange Postecoglou. I want to see season 3. He's come out and said, I always win a trophy in my second season. He's delivered. He's done it. He's delivered us a trophy. We haven't had one in 17 years. I've had the time of my life in the last 10 days or so. It's been absolutely awesome. And, don't settle for this. I completely agree. If that is a message to to Daniel Levy and the club and the board, it's a very, very strong one. Don't settle for this. We want more. As fans, I certainly want more. When we've tasted this glory, tasted this success, winning a European trophy, I want to be winning trophies year in, year out, and I want this feeling all the time. And he is absolutely right. We've got a taste for it. The players have got a taste for it. The club has got a taste for it. We all want it again. Let's build. And let's go again and let Ange have the third season. He deserves it. What would have been his brief at the start of the season? Perhaps try and win a trophy and get us in the top 4 because of Champions League. He has done both. He has got us, well, he didn't get in the top 4, as we know, but we've got Champions League football. Plus, we won a trophy. We had a huge moment in our history by winning a trophy and by having that parade. And, we're back in the Champions League. We're back in the big time. And I feel like now is a huge moment to back this manager, not sack the manager. How many managers have we gone through in recent years? I go back to 2019 of Mauricio Pochettino being sacked. 2019, we had 7 different managers in the dugout, and can we just keep going and replacing managers all the time? Spurs are apparently talking to Thomas Frank. What must these potential managers think? How long have I got? And plus, Thomas Frank, he is not stupid. He's a very, very good and capable manager with great experience in the Premier League, and he's done a wonderful job at Brentford. But if a manager is thinking, a club is talking to me while they still have a manager in charge, and, bearing in mind as well, Thomas Frank would be thinking, hold on a minute, Ange Postecoglou has just won Spurs a trophy after all this time, and his job is under threat. What chance do I have? What must I deliver for me not to get the sack? So, there's a lot in this, and I completely get some people doubting Ange Postecoglou. I completely get it. I'm not one of those people just to think of my own opinion and I'm right. None of us are right. We all feel differently. Some of us want him to stay. Some of us want him to get the time, patience and the tools. And some people don't. Some people want that change. All I would say to those people who do want the change is, what gives you the confidence that if someone like Thomas Frank comes in, what gives you the confidence that things will be any better? These players are behind Ange Postecoglou. There is no doubt about that at all. Players like Christian Romero, if Ange Postecoglou leaves and he is fired and sacked, Romero will be off this summer. There is absolutely no doubt about that at all. And there might be 1 or 2 others as well. This set of players are fully behind Ange Postecoglou. And I really do feel now, I know we did a fan show on Sunday evening, and 74% of fans that voted want Ange Postecoglou to stay. I've seen other similar polls as well on other channels and other X posts, etc. And the majority, it might not not be as high as 74%, but the majority is always with Ange Postecoglou, and they want him to stay, because I feel like this fan base has had something we haven't had for a while, and that is smiles on our faces. And we have felt very emotional in these last 10 days or so as well, because we have lifted that trophy, and all of us want that success again. And Ange Postecoglou has brought that to us. And let's not play it down here. Ange Postecoglou, and I've said this before, and I will keep saying it again and again, in our club's history, three managers have won us a European trophy. The great Bill Nicholson, the fantastic Keith Birkinshaw, and now Ange Postecoglou. He is rubbing shoulders with those two legends of our football club. So I believe that Ange does deserve the chance to have a third season, and I would like to see Ange Postecoglou manage us in different ways in the Premier League. And I've no doubt that conversation does need to be taken place with Daniel Levy, etc. And I would like to see him with a fully fit squad. And I would like to for us to go far in cup competitions again. And, imagine winning another trophy. This could be the start of something special. And I think that Ange Postecoglou is trying to get that message across. This could be the start of something special. Let's not ruin it. Let's continue with it, and let's see what happens. Ryan Mason has left the football club to go and join West Bromwich Albion. I tell you what, Ryan Mason, if there is ever a true professional, it is Ryan Mason. Unbelievable job that he has done at Spurs. Always been a great professional as a player. Of course, his playing career was very, very sadly cut short. Spurs gave him a coaching job. He's really taken that on extremely well, and as the statement said, he was interim boss for Spurs twice, and I felt and do feel like he did a fantastic job, especially dealing with the media the way that he did, especially all of that speculation, etc., about Harry Kane, and he dealt with that absolutely wonderfully. And I wish Ryan Mason all of the very best, and I wouldn't be at all surprised one day to see Ryan Mason back at Spurs in some capacity. But yeah, I feel like a lot of Spurs fans will be looking out for West Bromwich Albion's results in the future. Obviously, if they do play Spurs in the near future, then obviously we want to win. But we all would like to see Ryan Mason do well, because the way that he has conducted himself in all of his capacities and roles at Spurs has been absolutely brilliant. Donna Cullen stepping down at the club. This is the start of a major shake-up, in my opinion, at the club. Of course, Vinai Ventatesham has started now at Spurs. It is going to be interesting to see whether Johan Langer continues in his job. From what I understand, he is at the moment. It'll be interesting to see whether Scott Munn will continue in his role. I know a lot of reports have stated that it's highly likely that he will go out the door as well. Apparently Spurs are looking to replace a number of sports science staff and medical staff as well. That is no surprise with the amount of injuries that we have had. They have gone through a lot of staff, but I believe that they are still looking for new staff yet again. But it's going to be interesting to see what Vinai Ventatesham does at Spurs. He has got a very, very good track record. So hopefully this should be a sign of exciting times, especially that report from the Daily Telegraph, who are stating that this could mean, his appointment could mean that ENIC actually put in more money, which means that we could and should go out and spend more money in the transfer window. And if you listen to this channel on a regular basis and watch this on a regular basis, you will know I'm not one of those fans just to go out and say, spend hundreds of millions of pounds, because it doesn't work like that. It's all about the quality of the recruitment. Someone could go out and spend £1 billion, Chelsea, and not win the title and have a struggle for a couple of years. You're buying individual talent, but it doesn't necessarily make a great team. But we have seen in recent years, players like Van der Ven, what a find he was. What a find Lucas Bergvall as well. So you need top quality decisions in terms of recruitment, and it's not all about money. It is about choices. It is about finding those gems. And, we all know that Johan Langer is heavily driven on data. So let's hope that he can pull a good few names out of the hat and we can get a good few names over the line. But I also feel as well, it is not about young players in this transfer window, and Ange Postecoglou has mentioned this a couple of times in a couple of press conferences. It is about experience, especially playing Champions League football. And I know I keep banging on about the same old thing. When we want to be progressing as a club, we've won the Europa League. Now we want that success. The club should want it. Those staff should want it. Have tasted it. Like Ange said, the players have tasted it. Mickey van der Ven, players like that, James Maddison, everyone in that squad. Heung-min Son now has tasted success with Spurs. All of them will want that again. I tell you what, as a fan, I want it again. And, I feel like my expectations now and my expectations of this football club and Spurs as a whole is always very, very high. And I tell you what, it's even higher now because I expect more. I want us to win a trophy every year. And I want to feel like this all of the time as well, because I haven't stopped smiling, I haven't stopped singing, and no one is ruining my summer. It's been a great time. But it's about the players to come in now, which I'll come on to talk about. Matisse Tell, Spurs are now trying to get another loan deal over the line, which isn't a bad idea, but to have an obligation to buy, I've no doubt that that's probably what they are discussing. They probably want an option to buy rather than an obligation to buy. But perhaps it is a good idea to have a second loan to see what he can deliver in that second season. Mbeumo, I tell you what, a little bit gutted about this one if he does join Manchester United, because they have just lined up or just about to sign, two top talents in the Premier League with great Premier League experience as well, Mbeumo and Cunha from Wolves. Spurs should have been all over these deals, in my opinion. And, with Champions League football, we should have been in a much better place. And you would think that, Spurs could match what Manchester United are going to pay these players, because, some people think that, being in the Champions League is a real pull. Is it about wages instead? Is it about playing the Champions League? I think a lot of the time, if we're completely honest and frank about it, is about how much these players are being paid, which is very, very sad, because years ago it used to be completely the other way around. People wanted to be playing in the top competitions. But you never know. If the Mbeumo deal doesn't get done by Manchester United, Spurs should be in for this player. He is a top talent and he would get straight into our team. But as I will keep saying throughout the whole of this window, Spurs need to strengthen in all areas. We virtually need two teams, two players in every single position, of top quality to be playing Champions League football and to play the high intensity, Premier League football week in, week out. There's going to be a lot of games. And if us Spurs fans want another trophy in the cabinet and want to go far in a domestic cup, i.e. the League Cup, FA Cup, we need a really, really decent squad. And what I would say now, we're a couple of days into the transfer window. I just want to see some action, and we want to see action as soon as possible for Tottenham Hotspur in the transfer market. Thanks for watching and thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed it. If you're watching on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button, like, share and comment below. And if you're listening to this on an audio platform, please do the follow button and leave a review if you can. Have a great week. I'll see you on the next one. Come on, you Spurs.